So really looking at this as pulling together two things that I love, what I do as a therapist and what I do as a yoga teacher, and really starting to mesh them together so that they give us an even more powerful and supportive practice. So that's what I think of it as when we start to pull the principles and practices of somatics, of being really connected to the experience in the body. And we bring that into Kundalini, where we have all of these amazing practices for movement and for breath and for using our voice, creating chanting and sound. So we're going to focus today on the experience of safety, which is the most basic need that our nervous system is always seeking safety. It wants to know that we are okay. And there can be this back and forth with the experience of fear, which is a really common thing as humans. We have fear that comes up for all sorts of different reasons. And it's our nervous system wanting to protect us. And very often it works wonderfully. But when fear gets too strong and we constantly feel like our basic safety is compromised, it creates this really limiting experience in our life. We won't take as many risks. We won't open ourselves up to new experiences because we don't have that feeling of safety and confidence. So the practice that we're going to work on today is to feel the experience of safety in your body, because there's an interesting thing in the nervous system. We can tell ourselves things in our head all day long. We can do 1,000 affirmations, we can constantly talk positively to ourselves, and that's a really good start. But if we don't feel like it's true in our body, it won't really land. It's not going to actually grab and take hold in the nervous system. We have to feel it in the body. So what we're working on today is kind of taking that from up here and letting it filter down. We're going to step in with our mantra, and then we'll do our secondary mantra. The Mangalacharan mantra, the protection chant, is a wonderful chant to absorb that experience of safety into the body. Okay, so find your comfortable seat, settle in, start to rub the palms. This is going to be an important movement in our practice today. Building heat and friction, connecting to the fire element. Okay, stepping in with the Adi mantra 3 times. Use your voice, use your breath, create that sound. Draw it back into the heart. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Om Namo Guru Dev Namo. Letting that soak in, like you're drawing in that wisdom from the space around you. And you're concentrating down to that little point within yourself, that space of inner wisdom. That is the most important piece of information in your practice. And it overrides everything else. So as we soak that in, I'll give you a quote to contemplate that I jotted down the other day. It says, "No amount of worldly success, no amount of money or knowledge can ever be as valuable as feeling safe and comfortable in your body." And that's what we're really working on today. How can we use this practice to feel safe and comfortable in our body? That is the ultimate gift that practice can give us. Okay, release the hands. Give them a little shake. Wiggling, shaking is always welcome and encouraged if you feel like your body just needs to let something go, especially in between pieces of the practice. We're going to start with one of my favorite somatic resets, and I call this the rub and reset because we're going to rub the hands together and then focus on really specific places in the body where fear and contraction tends to take hold. Okay, so we take the hands and we rub, concentrating your energy into the palms of the hands and really feeling that heat. The fire element is the element of transformation. Take the hands, cup them gently over the sides of the head and the temples. Let that gentle warmth of the hands soak in. And this is a process of comforting yourself. Warm hands placed on the body, soaking that in. If you need a good exhale, use the breath. You can shake the hands out in between if that feels right. Okay, so we work through these different areas. Come back to rub the palms like you're recharging. And the next place we go to is the jaw. Take the hands, gently cup the sides of the face and the corner of the jaw. This is a process of directly offering support and comfort toward yourself. Knowing that you're always going to take good care of yourself creates this deep, unshakable internal safety. Okay, come back to rub. And we take the hands to the back of the neck, just gently cupping over those muscles. That warmth, that feeling of support from the hands soaking in. This is the feeling of offering yourself care and support. Bringing the hands back together, rubbing. Okay, bring your attention to the top of the shoulders. You can either place a hand or maybe cross and just kind of cup right where the neck and the shoulder meet, right where, where all that tension usually accumulates. And as you sit, if it feels right to say something to your body, it's like you're saying, oh, I see that tension, I see that resistance that's collected here. Let me just sit with it gently and offer this reassuring touch. Okay, releasing the shoulders. Maybe giving them a little shake or a circle. Okay, we have two more. So we rub the hands. Bringing the focus to the heart center. You can place one hand over the other, right on top of the heart. And we sit with the experience of deeply caring for yourself. Even when I'm in a state of feeling fear, being unsure, I will always offer myself kindness and support. Let that soak into the body. Okay, maybe a little shake or a wiggle. And we have our last one here. So for the last spot, I like to give you a choice. There's always a choice, but I like to emphasize the choice. And we can go for the stomach or the abdominal area, but if there's another place in your body that really feels like it needs warm hands resting on it, maybe hips or legs, go for that. Okay, so rub, rub, rub. Feel that energy of transformation. And place the hands where they feel like they're needed. It can be a really common experience when we're not used to tuning into ourselves, taking care of ourselves. You might feel resistance to soaking in that kindness. So if you do, just know that that's not unusual. And you might use the breath to show that resistance, how it can leave. And then just reminding yourself, our practice today is about feeling connected to safety and comfort of being in your body, whatever that looks like for you. All right. Any little transition movements that you need? That is one of my favorite little warm-ups. That's a great standalone practice if you just need a very quick reset. We're going to switch over into a seated position. If you can sit on your feet, you're welcome to do that. If not, any other seated position will work. And we're going to go into a spine flex. So whatever seated position you're in, a little bit of extra awareness around the pelvis and specifically at the base of the pelvis. That root chakra is our connection to safety and knowing our basic needs are met. We'll bring the hands onto the legs. We inhale. So think roll the pelvis forward to open the heart. Exhale, roll the pelvis back to scoop. The pelvis controls the movement of our spine. So getting that origination of movement really low can create that wave that we're looking for. Inhale forward. Exhale back. Slow and steady. You're just having a conversation with your spine. As you start to move into your pace, I'll give you this option to maybe rub the hands back and forth on your legs. This is just another way of offering comforting self-touch. Reinforcing that experience of being safe in your body. Even when fear is present, we can reinforce that experience of knowing we're always going to listen to our needs and take care of ourselves. And that's really what helps us to work through fear rather than to feel like it creates a brick wall. How can I use this movement to feel safe and comfortable in my body. Okay, last couple breaths here. You might start to turn the dial down, maybe a little softer and slower. Come up into a straight spine, very open across the heart. Lengthen up through the crown. Big inhale, expand wide into the ribs. Hold that fullness, light, expansive. Let it go. Exhale. Take a moment to absorb. How do I feel? Curious, open awareness. How do I feel in my body? So we're going to start to make our way up into standing. And whatever that looks like, you might roll back onto the feet and kind of come through a squatting position. But taking your time, maybe a little forward bend on the way up because the legs were just bent possibly. And working our way up. Okay, one of the things that we're really introducing here in terms of somatic movement, well, the wiggling, you're going to see me wiggle all the time. If you think about kids when they're like trying to sort something out, they're wiggly, right? They don't have that expectation of like being very still and controlled. So when they're going through something, you're going to see their wiggles. We just learned to repress that as adults, but not in here. So wiggling in between can really help kind of cleanse the palate so you're ready for the next thing. But there's a lot of self-touch. There's a lot of like, I am here. This is the container of my body, and I'm paying attention to it. So anytime you feel the need to put hands somewhere that feels supportive, go for it. Okay, we're going to go into our crow squats. So the crow squat, the feet are kind of hip distance apart, somewhere around there, because you want to feel really rooted. The arms might come out in front. You can interlace the fingers and have the index fingers out front, so you have this very strong forward focus. But if that bothers the shoulders, draw into the heart. And we'll just start to check in with the legs and the knees. Little half squat. A couple times up and down just to see how low do I want to go today? That's the question. And with crow squat, you have that option to maybe drop the hips all the way down. Okay, so we'll start to coordinate the breath. There's a push and an inhale to rise up and exhale to slide down. Sometimes I'll take my arms up at the top. You might want to do a high reach, that look up, reach up. Exhale. Find whatever the bottom of that squat is for you. As you get into the groove, focus on the feeling of power and strength in the legs. Rooting down. It is that process of feeling grounded, connected to the earth. The earth is the most nurturing, supportive energy. It really makes us know that we are safe, we are cared for. Okay, last couple. And I just want you to think for a moment where you would like to hold. And the choice is down at the bottom, whatever your squat looks like, you can hold that, or you can press up to the top, your choice. Okay, so find where you want to hold. Inhale, lengthen through the spine, expand. Push the feet into the ground. Exhale, release the arms. Okay, so if you're not down by the ground, start to make your way down because we're going to land gracefully back on the mat and stretch the legs out in front. Taking your hands, pressing them down into the earth, emphasizing that feeling. So we did a lot of contact with feet into the earth, hands down into the earth. There's a solidness and a stability that comes from being in contact with the earth. You just take a moment to absorb that. It is this constant, never-ending resource that we can tap into for feeling supported. Okay, so we come up to a straight spine, a little bend in the knees. Take the arms out front if that works for you, otherwise heart. And we'll start this seesaw movement. It's an inhale forward and an exhale back. Try a couple really slowly so the back can tell you what it thinks. And then we listen to that information from the body. If it wants us to change anything, absolutely do that. Okay, so you're working your way into some version of this movement where you can start to connect to the power of the abdomen. We did the legs, and now we're at the center. This is one of the movements in Kundalini that we use to really feel connected to our personal power as a way to move through fear. Sometimes we get stuck on the idea that we have to get rid of fear or we need to be in a state of full confidence to do things. But it is so often just the experience of letting the fear be there and doing the thing anyway. At your center, you have that incredible resource of strength. This is fire, right in the belly. Okay, last one. As you come forward, drop the arms down and just let yourself roll over the legs into some kind of forward fold. Taking your hands and placing them somewhere on your legs or your feet. That experience of self-supportive touch. We'll start to work up and down the legs with a little squeeze from your hands. Just moving up and down, no particular way or area that you have to do. Just kind of let it happen wherever the hands feel like they're needed. And it's not necessarily a massage, but it's this feeling of giving input to the body that is reassuring. Very similar to if you've ever used a weighted blanket. That deep pressure can be really comforting and soothing, gives a sense of safety. Okay, we're going to roll down onto the back and pull the knees toward the chest. Send the legs up into the air, and you can keep the knees kind of softly bent. And we'll start with just circling the feet and wiggling the toes. One of the tools that we have to break us out of a cycle of fear and reconnect with a sense of safety is a little bit of fun and playfulness. So again, think about children. That fun, that playfulness is such a key part of their development, and we kind of forget that as adults. So bring a little bit of that fun playfulness into this movement. We're going to start to shake the legs out in any way that feels good. Bring the arms up over the shoulders, give them a little shake. Shake, shake, shake. Just wiggling. Fear creates a sense of stuck, contracted resistance. So we are bringing light, wiggly expansiveness, like a happy little wiggly puppy or a Redford who sneaks in while I'm doing class. Use your breath. You can make sound that can really help to show whatever you need to let go of, where it can leave. And then lower the legs, squeeze the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around, give yourself a hug. Feel that transition from movement to stillness. And in whatever words feel right for you, you can offer yourself some internal reassurance. Perhaps thinking about something in your life right now that maybe is bringing up a little bit of fear. And you can just practice that process of saying, hey, I see that fear, and it's okay. I trust that I'm going to take care of myself and find a way to move forward to make sure I feel safe, even though there's some uncertainty. So words by themselves can be good, but letting that soak down into your body, even better. Okay, releasing the legs, stretching out in any way that you want to. You can go totally flat, or you can keep knees bent. It's like you're asking yourself, how can I place my body in as much contact with the earth as possible so that we're soaking in that deeply supportive, nourishing energy from the earth. As you soak in stillness, it's like you're letting that soak into every cell, knowing I am safe because I will always honor and take care of myself. letting your awareness gently rest on the movement of your breath. That can be the first anchor of safety. That gentle, constant rhythm, bringing in new energy, letting go of whatever we need to release, constantly supporting us. And as you let the breath start to expand, bringing some movement to fingers and toes, letting the body start to reach or stretch any way that it wants to. And then you might come back into that rubbing the hands, maybe rubbing the feet. It's a brain exercise, I tell you. Rubbing the feet. That's our coordination exercise of the day. All right, hug it in. You can either roll over to your side to find your seat, or you can rock up and down. And we'll find a comfortable place to sit and to soak in. We ask the all-important question in somatic awareness, a deep, curious question: how do I feel? How do I feel? Gathering the hands together. And we'll seal the work of this practice with a long Sat Nam. Sat Nam. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope this practice carries you through for whatever fun things you have planned for your Sunday.